First, I'm going to set the table, so to speak. First of all, let me begin with this. How many of you know that everyone around the world was interested in these 4 blood moons that I discovered, talked about? A lot of people wrote about it, and a lot of people said things that I never said, and people were saying that I was saying that. But what I've always said, and I still very much hold to, is these were signs in the heavens warning mankind of something that was coming soon, all right? Now, let me show you this. The moon's orbit around the Earth is elliptical, okay? It's like it's egg-shaped, so to speak. When the moon, let me go to my little diagram right here. Okay, do you see the moon right here? Okay, there's the moon. Its orbit is elliptical, going around. Now, sometimes when it goes around, it's not always the same amount of distance. It might be like this the next time. So sometimes it's close, sometimes it's far away. When the Earth is at, or the moon is at its furthest point from Earth, it's called the apogee, long ways away. When it's at its closest point to Earth, it's called perigee. Okay, everyone got that? Okay. Now, whenever you see the sun, the Earth, and the moon in a straight line, it becomes a great Scrabble word. Syzygy. Okay? Now, but if you go back and look here, you know, the moon is over here. Here's the sun, we're saying, right in here, glowing this way. The moon is here, the Earth is here. It's not in syzygy. It's not in direct alignment. You know, when the moon is in direct alignment between the Earth and the sun, we get an eclipse, right? Okay. Now, we are about to see a record-breaking super moon. It's the biggest in nearly 70 years. Now, the moon looks real big if it's seen just over the horizon. If it's real high in the sky, it doesn't look like a big super moon because it's so high in the sky. So the best time to see a super moon and looks really big is if you're up when it just crests the horizon. Now, how many of you know the number 70 is very significant? Well, here's a news article. Well, first, let me tell you this. Normally, scientifically, you only get like 1 super moon every year in a couple of months. It so happens this year we have 3 super moons in a row. There's one in October, there's one in November, and there's one in December. But the one in November is the super duper moon. Okay? What is meant by a super moon? A supermoon is when it is a full moon, okay, and it's at its closest point to Earth. If it's a full moon and it's at apogee, if it's far away, that doesn't make as much of a difference if it's at perigee. If it's at its closest point to Earth and it's a full moon, now it looks really big because it's closer, right? Okay. We have 3 full moons in a row that all appear at apogee. But this one in November is special. Okay, what do we find? First off, it's the same night we have Ari Abramowitz. Now, supposedly, because we're going on daylight savings time, according to science data, the sunset is going to be here in Seattle about 4:30 in the afternoon, and the moon rises at 5:18. So here in Seattle, if it's not cloudy, that's a big if, you'll be able to take a picture of this super moon coming up over the horizon an hour before we meet with Ari Abramowitz. Okay, now here's a newspaper article, I believe. It says, we're about to see a record-breaking supermoon, the biggest, like I said, in nearly how many years? It's the closest full moon in this century. Now look at this next paragraph. If you only see one astronomical event this year, make it the November supermoon, when the moon will be the closest to its Earth since it's been, since January, what year? Wow. 70 years? Right before Israel becomes a nation? Here we have these 3 super moons in a row. All right, the biggest one is just in a week and a half. On Monday night, November 14th. It says here at the bottom that it won't happen again until November of 2034. Okay? So I just wanted to point out that you have 3 supermoons in a row, with the biggest one happening this next week, right before the flood takes place, biblically. Okay. Now here's just this, I am not endorsing any presidential candidate here, but I'm just stating a fact. The inauguration ceremony for president is on January 20th of 2017. It is every year, with the celebration to follow. The next president, whoever that may be, their first full day in office will be the following day, January 21st, 2017. Everyone follow me? It just so happens. On June 14th, 2016, Donald Trump turned 70 years old. So on January 14th, Donald Trump will be 70 years and 7 months old and 7 days on the inauguration day. Now, I just think that's fact. This is a fact. Donald Trump will be 70 years old, 7 months and 7 days old, his first day in office. Now, I'm not endorsing a candidate. I am just telling you that this is fascinating. This kind of stuff fascinates me. Now, here's the next thing. The number 7, as you know, is very significant. In Hebrew, the 7th letter is zayin, and it means a weapon. Okay? It even looks like a weapon. You can see the little white zayin within the handle of the axe. So here's what's fascinating. Here, the word zamar, the first letter of the word to sing is zamar in Psalms 9:11. The zayin also represents to prune, Leviticus 25:3. Now this year in Hebrew is 5777. 777. Okay? Now, what you realize, what Hebrew letter is the 7th letter? Zayin. 777. The first digit is 5, okay? And the 5 means, hey, to behold. So here, this year means to behold, weapon, weapon, weapon. Warfare, warfare, warfare. The last time, 70 years ago, we had this big supermoon was before Israel went to war. In 1948, 70 years ago. Now, what's fascinating, there's an anomaly in Hebrew, as many of you that have been around know, that there are letters that are big, there are letters that are small, letters that are upside down and backwards that do not get translated into English. Well, one of the places where the zayin is really big, the only time it appears really big, is in Malachi 4 and 5, and it's the word zikron or zikru here, to remember. It's the word to remember. And what are we supposed to remember? The Torah of Moses. Okay? And this has to do with, behold, I send you Elijah the prophet. Now, the word zayin refers to warfare, as I said, or it's a weapon. What this is telling us, the greatest weapon we have in the last days is to remember the Torah of Moses. This is why the devil doesn't want us to have anything to do with it, because in the times we're about to enter, it is our greatest weapon that we have. There's more. Remember the 7 spirits of God. Okay, Isaiah 11:2 talks about the 7 spirits of God. What do we know from 2 Corinthians 10:4? The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God, through the pulling down of strongholds, right? We're to have involved in spiritual warfare, correct? So one of the things I think we need to realize, with the fact that this coming year that we're in right now is 5777, which all represent zayins and weapons and weapons and weapons, it also means to sing, it also means to prune. Well, God is telling us this is the year that God is going to do a lot of pruning in the church. It's pruning time. But our warfare is to sing the Psalms. Okay, we need to be concentrating and remembering the Torah of Moses and praising him. Now, in case you didn't know, in your Torah scrolls and the like, there's these little toggins that are over certain letters. Okay? So these are the, how many of you have ever seen those in Torah scrolls? What the sages say is each one of those are actually little Zions or weapons, spiritual weapons. Okay? Now, how many of you know Psalms 91? How many of you know it's a warfare psalm? Is Psalms 91 a warfare psalm? You guys know this, right? Nowhere in the entire psalm is there a letter Zion. And so people would think, well, wait a minute. If that is a warfare psalm, why are there no Zions in it? Guess what? Do you see on, I don't know if you could really see on this, those little toggans? See the little toggans? Here, let me use my little color here. Do you see how the little three, there we go. Do you see this one has the toggans on it? You can see this one has it on it, this one has it on it, this one has it on it, this one, this one, this one. Okay, this is verse 12 of Psalm 91, and it has 7 letters, a total of 23 Zions on top doing spiritual warfare. In Psalms 91, it has more of these letters with the toggans implying a spiritual battle that is going on in the heavenlies. And so, let me go back. So basically, when we recite Psalms 91, the Zions function as spiritual weapons. Okay, we have 777 this year, I believe, is going to be the year of warfare. Not only could be physical warfare. Again, the last time this moon happened was right before Israel became a nation and went to war. So what we need to do is protect ourselves, right? Physically, spiritually. And how many of you sometimes get fed up with the devil and you just want to crush him? I think the church has been battered, and I think it's time for us to get mad. I think it's time to get mad, and we need to realize we need to do spiritual warfare. And because of all these Zions that is in Psalm 91, like I said, whenever you recite it, these Zions are functioning as spiritual weapons that you are fighting with. So with that said, let's stand and let's pray Psalms 91, and pray it every day. I'm telling you, pray Psalm 91 every day. This is going to be your spiritual warfare for protection this year. So together. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. For He will deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers. Under His wings you will take refuge. His faithfulness is your shield and rampart. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only look with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked, because you have made the Lord your refuge and the Most High your dwelling place. No evil shall happen to you, neither shall any plague come near your dwelling. For He will put His angels in charge of you to guard you in all your ways. They will bear you up in their hands so that you won't dash your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and the cobra. You will trample the young lion and the serpent underfoot. Because He has set His love on me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. I will satisfy him with long life and show him my Yeshua. Amen.
Let's seek. Are you serious? Are you serious? The collision of the cosmos. Planet X may be bringing a collision of the cosmos. The heavens are shaking, and there's no question that we've got a prophetic evening last night. 61 meteors. Are you serious? 61 fireballs is what they like to report it as, seen in the sky last night. Every night, folks, there are now fireballs being reported around the earth, but not at this number. 61. Matter of fact, the NASA all-sky cameras scan the skies above the United States for meteor fireballs, and automated software is now being used to help track the actual path in which each meteor is taking. And it's an incredible, they're coming from every different direction, but to have one night where 61 of them pierce through in the atmosphere, they're being seen all over the world. They're being reported. It's intensifying. It's exactly what Mike from around the world said was going to happen. And folks, the second wave of the 5 waves of energy is due December 26th. And here's the key. It's not like the world's going to come to an end on December 26th. But what it does say is this, boom, we're going to feel this, this wave of energy, but it's followed by intense pressure, fireballs, earthquakes, volcanoes, potential apocalyptic or cataclysmic or catastrophic events, tsunamis. Not sure. We know the earth's going to shake, okay? We know it's going to shake, and there's a lot of debris. And we're not even to the second wave yet. You know, we've had the first wave last year, and some of you may not know, and it was a small ripple wave. It hit on August the 17th, okay, 2015. Now, then in April of this year, we had a wave, a very small wave, but it was recorded and documented. BP Earthwatch was able to go back and retract and find that. Now, and then during the late September, I think it was, no, or in October, around October 14th, 15th, we had 3 waves, 3 days in a row. They were little ripples, but they definitely affected the Earth's magnetosphere, okay? It definitely affected it. And there's charts and graphs that show it. You can see it in real time, and BP Earthwatch spotted it. And I actually had BP Earthwatch and Mike Around the World come on my live show and discuss this. Now, the second wave is due, but already we've seen unbelievable auroras, and now 61 fireballs last night, according to reports. They were all over the world. They were flying everywhere. And here's another report. NASA is admitting that they know where 1,743 potentially hazardous asteroids that are considered near-Earth objects of the Earth. They have them located. They know, they have named them. They know their size and approximate time they will go by the Earth. None of them are projected to hit us. But oh, by the way, neither was the one that hit in Russia. They didn't have that one listed. Remember that one, February of 2013? And 2 months ago, the one that hit in Australia, that one wasn't listed. And 4 years ago, the one that hit and killed a person in Argentina, that one wasn't listed. Matter of fact, NASA has listed right now 1,743 potential hazardous asteroids. They have listed, all of which are near-Earth objects, none of which are projected to hit us. Matter of fact, NASA has never predicted an asteroid to hit us, yet we have been hit several times. What I'm telling you is, if you're waiting on NASA to put it up on the chart, the size, the name, and the day it's going to deep impact, you're never going to see it. They're only going to tell us about the ones they know, they see, they're going by. And the 61 fireballs that was in the sky last night, none of those are even on the charts, or because they're considered meteors or fireballs. They're not incoming asteroids. What I'm trying to say to you is we are on the brink of the collision of the cosmos. The colliding, the collision of the cosmos is taking place like a pinball, and at some point as Planet X or Nibiru or Planet 7X, as Gil Brazard says it, or Planet number 9, like NASA's renamed it, or, whatever you want to call it binary system, a part of the Jupiter system, call it whatever you want to call it, whatever is it that God is using. And remember, God is doing it. Whatever this object, this huge, massive pull that's on the entire solar system and is shaking the heavens and is breaking loose the cosmos. There's a collision of the cosmos. Something's breaking loose the asteroids, the meteorites, the fireballs. And Jesus said this was going to happen. And Paul warned of the great shaking both in the heavens and on the earth. And Isaiah prophesied it in Isaiah 24. He even talks of a pole shift in Isaiah 24 verse 1 when he says the earth is going to flip upside down. He even tells us that we'd hear songs in the heavens and noises, boom, from the earth, from the pit. And we're hearing these. These are the sounds of the apocalypse. And as that's all happening, folks, you can know the earth is going to reel and rock like a drunken man. Isaiah said it in the same chapter, Isaiah 24, verse 20. So what I'm telling you is this. We're on a collision course with destiny. We're on a collision course with Christ. You're either going to meet Christ in the air, in his glorified body, you change in the moment of a twinkling of an eye, or you're going to meet the wrath of God on a collision course with humanity's judgment, when the wrath of God and the seals are broken, poured out upon this planet, and the men are going to run for the rocks and the mountains, and they're going to cry to them to fall on them and to hide them from the face of him that sits on the throne. I'm promising you something. Every knee is going to bow. Every tongue is going to confess. Every eye is going to behold him. They're going to confess that he's the King of kings, the Lord of lords. Whether you believe it or not, the hour is coming. Are you serious? It is the coming apocalypse. Give your life to Jesus Christ and get the joy of the Lord. Because are you afraid, Pastor Beckley? No. I'm not afraid at all, because the Bible says when I see these signs that I'm to look up. When I see these things coming to pass, here it is. There shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and distress of nations with perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring. Men's hearts will fail them for fear, for looking after those things that are coming upon the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and there's going to be a collision in the cosmos. Then shall you see the Son of Man. It says, look up. Right then, when you see all these things happening, look up. Lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh, because you will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with power and great glory. All right, and when these things begin to come to pass, he said, look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Are you saved? Jesus is the way. Are you serious? Are you serious? Folks, we got issues. We've got a major, mega earthquake just off the coast of El Salvador, a 7.0. Now, it was first reported at 7.2. The U.S. Geological Survey has brought it down to 7.0. It just happened about 48 minutes ago. It rattled El Salvador, the Pacific coast there, but there's no immediate reports yet of damage or injuries, but it's way too early. Way too early in that part of the world. It's just too early. They just can't get the media, they just can't get the reports out quick enough. I'd almost guarantee you we got some problems. Now, the one major concern you got to have here is a tsunami, because this thing was extremely shallow, only 10.3 kilometers, 7.0, rocking, shaking, rattling, and rolling in El Salvador. Matter of fact, reports are the possibility, there is a tsunami alert. I repeat, there is a tsunami alert. Possible waves as high as 6 feet are expected to hit the coast of El Salvador, also expected to hit the coast of Nicaragua. All right. Now, Nicaragua has also put out a tsunami alert. The quake was 92 miles off the coast of El Salvador. And also, don't forget, Nicaragua is already dealing with Hurricane Otto. What? So it has just made landfall in Nicaragua on the over there in the Caribbean coast on that side. So Nicaragua has a hurricane Otto hitting it right now, and then a potential tsunami, a 6-foot-high wave coming to the other side of the coast because of an earthquake off the coast of El Salvador. We're going to keep a close eye on all of this because this is really, really, really strange situation. I mean, you talk about rare. This is extremely rare. Matter of fact, I'm just going to do one quick update on the Hurricane Otto right now, and just see where we stand with this thing as it's making landfall. Yes, they're now expecting life-threatening flash flooding taking place as Hurricane Otto is making landfall in Nicaragua. Possible mudslides, landslides, Nicaragua and Costa Rica. So Hurricane Otto hitting Nicaragua over on the Caribbean side, and an earthquake sending a tsunami toward Nicaragua, on the other side. Are you serious? You talk about the apocalypse. The apocalypse. I mean, that's really about what you've got going on here off the coast of El Salvador and Nicaragua. We'll continue to keep a close eye on all of this, Costa Rica as well. And there's been chaos around the world, scaffolding collapsing in China, killing 67, a car bomb in Iraq, killing 57, a car bomb in Turkey, killing 2 and injuring 33. There's been a mass shooting in Louisville, Kentucky, killing 2, wounding 4. There's outrageous fires, just wildfires burning out of control all over Israel, including the Haifa area where 60,000 people have been evacuated, and there's fires burning now in the city of Jerusalem. These are arsonists. Now it's being determined they have been set by arsonists, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is doing everything he can, and he's asking other countries to come help him. The Russians have arrived. Croatia is helping. Cyprus is helping. We still have heard no word yet from President Obama and the United States. But that's where we're at right now. Pray for Israel. And boy, this is crazy what's going on right now. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to Bible prophecy. You say, well, Pastor, there's nothing in here about this in the Bible. Well, apparently you haven't read the signs of the end times. Because in Matthew 24, the Bible says, there will be false Christs and false prophets shall rise, and they shall deceive many. You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass. The end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines, pestilence, earthquakes in divers places. Now here's what it also says. These are beginning sorrows. That's Matthew 24. But if you run over to Luke 21, it says there will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. Distress of nations with perplexity. Well, that's a lot of car bombs and wars. There'll be commotions. There'll be signs in the sun, the moon, stars, and distress of nations with perplexity. The sea and the waves roaring. All right. Men's hearts have failed them for fear, for looking after those things coming upon the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. When you begin to see these things come to pass, folks, he says, look up, lift up your head, for your redemption is drawing nigh. Pray for Nicaragua and El Salvador as this earthquake and tsunami alerts, 7.0 earthquake with tsunami alerts, and simultaneously Hurricane Otto. Huge. It's a monster coming ashore on the other side of Nicaragua and Costa Rica. Are you serious? Give your life to Jesus Christ? This is the last days of chaos.